It's approaching 1 p.m. on Tuesday, July 25th, 2023. Calvin Castine in beautiful downtown, well, not quite downtown, we're out of downtown, Peru, New York, at the Adirondack Farm. I see some feed covered over in that direction. We saw a wagon just go by, and we see and smell a whole lot of four-legged creatures known as cows. We're here to talk to a fellow named Shane St. Cyr about a new operation here. Methane is going to be turned into electricity, from what I've heard, and we're going to find out all about that here in one of the largest, if not the largest farm in Clinton County, New York. The Adirondack Farm is located at the northern edge of the Adirondack Mountains, and this is I believe their first location when they were established, I'm guessing maybe a couple of decades ago. But they have grown, and they have more than one footprint that looks a lot like this one here. Okay, we've got our tour guide, and make sure I'm pronouncing it right. St. Cyr, Shane St. Cyr, is that
Yes,
right?
that's
Okay.
correct.
And what's your official title here at Adirondack Farms?
So I'm one of the managing partners.
Partner.
Yep.
Okay, so you're one of the owners then? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. Is it farm or farms?
I believe it's Adirondack Farms LLC.
Okay. Well, I hope the owner knows here.
Yes.
Now, you're telling me before we started here that you're actually from Maine. How did you end up here in northern Clinton County, northern New York, southern Clinton County?
Yeah. So my family had a small dairy herd in southern Maine, and I went to school for agriculture. And a while ago, Adirondack Farms had an ad in the back of Horde's Dairyman, and that's how we got connected.
Looking for a new partner or just looking for help?
Looking for help. Yeah, years ago.
I first heard of this when Rocky Giroux from Giroux's John Deere Sales in Beekmantown, I think he was one of the founding fathers here, but I saw him last summer and he said he's no longer involved. Is that true?
Yeah, so John Rolfs and Rocky, were a couple of the founding members, and John is still here. He's in a tractor on the pile today, helping bring in feed.
Putting them to work.
Yes.
And that's RULF.
RULFS. Yep.
Yeah.
Also, he and his daughters also operate Rolf's Orchard down in Peru.
So,
Yep.
yeah, when you think of the Rolf's name here, it's been synonymous with orchards along with Florence and a few other names here in the Peru area.
Yes, for a long time.
Yes. So this farm they thought would be a good idea, and they're kind of hoping to grow it, and it certainly has grown, hasn't it?
Yes, yep. I believe that was their goal, was to bring some people together to work together and bring efficiencies to the dairy farms they had already, and it's worked, and we have a lot of families working here, and provide a lot of food for a lot of people. So I would guess, I'm sure you're probably the biggest dairy farm north of Albany or in New York State. How close are you to being the biggest in the state? Yeah, I wouldn't know the answer to that. No,
it's not a competition as far as you're concerned.
No, it's not a competition. We're more focused on happy employees and happy cows, I guess.
Okay, and you've bought up a lot of farmland up my way in Champlain. My property is being used by Manure Institute.
Yeah.
And across the road from me is Giroux's Poultry.
Yeah.
But all they grow is corn. They don't they don't grow all kinds of crops the way you guys do.
Yeah, well, different animals have different needs, right? So
they can use the corn, but they can't use the hay.
Yeah, the dairy cows, a large part of their diet is forage, which is corn silage and alfalfa haylage, and that's kind of our focus.
Okay, and you chop your grass every 5 weeks or so. How often do you go You chop your grass for the cows.
We would love to if it would stop raining this year, right? So, yeah, our goal is to put in high quality forage. The higher quality it is, the less other inputs we need to purchase to supplement it. So we've got a great team of people here that really focus on that, and every year we have a great deal of high quality forage thanks to them.
Now, I drive up the Northway from Champlain to Plattsburgh, and I go by the former Bubbins farm.
Yeah.
And I believe that's your property now. Is that correct?
So Adirondack Farms, does operate the Bubbins location on Moffett Road.
And that is growing. There's all kinds of construction going on there. In fact, when I heard about what we're going to talk about today, that's where I thought it was, because I drive by there all the time and see all that construction, but that's not there at this point in time.
So it's working towards that. So we actually have some people on site today looking up there for designing a methane digester and renewable natural gas as well in that location.
Okay, so how many locations do you have where you actually have milking cattle?
So we milk on 4 locations today, and our goal is to bring that down to 2 locations with 3 milking parlors.
Okay, so you've got this one, you've got the Bubbins. Did you buy the Ashley property on the Ashley Road, or is that somebody else? Somebody else must have bought that one, because I see activity there. So do you know offhand where the other 2 are that you're milking right now?
So we milk right up the road from Bubbins at the Carter facility.
Okay.
And we lease a facility in Chazy at the Rovers facility.
Okay. All right. And keep hearing from all the global warming people that cows produce a lot of methane. So, so you guys are trying to put that to use.
Well, we are. We're trying to help tell the real story that cows are really the solution and not the problem, right? And there's significantly fewer cows today than there were just 20 and 40 years ago. So, helping to people to understand that animal agriculture really is, in the state of New York, only about 4% of methane. But of that 4%, what we're doing is we're harnessing it and turning it into electricity. So, and renewable natural gas.
I've been around horses a few times. I know how to harness them, but
Yeah.
I don't know how to harness methane. But you guys found a way.
Well, we did. We have here at this location, we have a methane digester.
Okay.
It's on the other side of that
Other
building.
side of this building.
Yep. But so our manure goes in there.
So
and
all your manure from this location.
Yep.
Now,
And
do you import it from the other locations?
we
No?
don't. No. And it's held in there for 21 days, and while it's in there, it creates methane. We capture that methane, and prior to this spring, we would use that biogas to run a generator, creating electricity. This spring, we transitioned to taking the biogas and putting it through what's called the gas cleanup equipment. So this takes impurities out of the gas and concentrates the methane. And from this, we can then load it on trucks. Those trucks will deliver it to an injection point, and that is injected directly into the natural gas pipeline. So this injection point is actually near the Chateauguay milk plant. So we've got milk going out the other side of the farm to make cheese, and we've got methane going out this side of the farm to help make the cheese as well.
Okay, I envisioned when I heard this, like you would find with a wind farm or a solar farm, that you'd be generating the electricity here, but that's far from what's happening then.
Well, we were.
You were, yeah. Well, that's what Clinton County Landfill has been doing that for a while too.
Yes.
Capturing the methane there and generating some electricity.
Yes.
But your electricity you generated was for internal use only then? It wasn't put in
No, we used some of it,
Did
and
you?
some of it went on the
You
line.
did go on the line, okay.
Yep. This was a business decision. So there's some states, Vermont being one of them, that really promotes methane being used to create electricity, and they've got programs that really help and benefit the farmers. That's not the case today in New York. So as a business decision, what our hope is that this will be more beneficial endeavor for us than the electricity. If at some point rules change or regulations change, we may decide to go back to electricity because that is the better option. But today we feel this is the better option, and this is sold through the California low carbon fuel standard market. So technically this gas goes to California. So again, our hope is that New York, can benefit from it, and we've heard that New York legislators are considering a program similar to that. So, we'd be in huge favor of a gas program or an electricity program in New York, especially as New York has significant goals for working towards carbon neutrality.
Yeah, it just boggles my mind that it would be transported 3,000 miles to California, and when you certainly find use for it a little closer to home.
Yes, but the pipeline, so it's injected in a local pipeline and most likely used locally, but technically it could get to California, so that's where the credits are generated.
Okay, is it injected in the pipeline? Is there a pipeline up by Chateauguay? I know there's one that comes through my place and ends up in Plattsburgh.
Yes, there's one up by Chateauguay.
There's one there too, okay.
Yeah.
So that's where it goes?
Yes. Yep.
So how do you, I can't imagine how you can inject it in there, because you got gas flowing through there on a steady basis, so you got to be able to.
Well, it's based on pressure. So these trucks are loaded with a pressure differential compared to the line, so that they'll overcome the pressure differential, and the gas will flow into the line.
Yeah, in my backyard down in our pasture, we've got the pipeline that goes up to Plattsburgh, by GP Mills and so on there.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's I drive by there every once in a while over my gator.
Right.
Hoping there's not a leak.
Yeah.
So okay, so we can go to the other end later and see where you're starting this process.
Yeah.
But since we're here, we'll look at this. We'll do it backwards. Hometown Cable does stuff backwards sometimes.
Okay.
So it's piped in here. I seen that big pipe over there. There's two smaller ones.
Yeah, it comes from the far pipe. It comes from the digester underground, and it comes through these 3 tanks, and these are media tanks. And what they do is they help to remove some impurities in the gas.
And where do they go? Where do those impurities go?
Those tanks are filled with media that absorb the impurities, and then once it gets to a point, we'll clean those out. So this is relatively new, so we're not at that point yet. So once they leave those tanks, this second area here is a first stage compressor. And what this does is it pushes the gas, which is now made up primarily of methane and carbon dioxide, through membranes. And those membranes separate out the carbon dioxide to concentrate the methane. So once it goes through those membranes, it goes through a final stage compressor. And that final stage compressor, with the CO2 gone, it's concentrated to about 98 to 99% methane. And the final stage compressor compresses it and loads it on these special gas trucks.
So you've got valves that open up and it pumps it in there?
Pumps it in there. And when that truck is full, it will be loaded and taken to the pipeline to be injected into the pipeline. So, it's very similar to our milk process. When the tank's loaded, it heads to the plant and gets made into cheese.
Except the tanks aren't round, and when you're thinking of gas, you're thinking of a round tank.
Yeah.
So if you're going down the highway, don't bump into one of these guys, please.
Well, these are very safe. There's multiple precautions that are taken with this whole system. So, if we were concerned about it, we wouldn't have it this close to our cows, right?
Yeah, but they're not getting bumped, they're not getting hit by another tractor trailer or whatever. So I see a little fault here on the side of this. What's that little thing there on the side? Is that controls behind there, or the little?
I don't know. There's a company specifically
that does this,
serviced and trained to handle this. So
how many? Do you measure it by gallons?
It's measured typically by BTUs or MMBTUs or standard cubic feet. So we're not 100% operational right now. So we don't have those numbers today.
Oh, so you haven't sent any yet?
We have,
Oh, okay.
but it's a process
still
to
in the
get
learning
things
process,
going.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So how long ago did you set this part here up?
So this has been about a year and a half, almost 2 year process.
Wow.
There's, it started kind of before or in the middle of COVID, so that really slowed things down. As many people know, that's changed and slowed a lot of things. So it's taken quite a bit longer than we had hoped.
Yeah, a lot of things got lost in the pipeline, so
Yes.
to speak, that you couldn't get parts and other things you needed for. So your second location that you're hoping for would be what we call the former Bubbins farm. That's your
Yes.
eventual hope.
Yes.
So if anybody who's driving south on the Northway, just look out to the right when you get past the Beekmantown exit, or you'll see them, and they're growing fast there.
Yes.
Okay, anything more we should see on this end, Shane, before we move down to the other side?
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll take that long walk down there.
Okay.
I'm kind of familiar with the things that look like this, but usually never they have a cover on them. For many years now, a lot of farmers have been getting into these large circular, I'll call them a tank, where they store their manure so they can spread it.
Yeah.
And that's probably what you were doing in this spot before, where you're using this area before you put the cover on it?
No, this is.
Where was your manure going on a daily basis?
We have a lagoon up there that
lagoon?
stores the manure. Yeah.
Doesn't flow right into the river, though.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so you had a storage area
Yeah.
outside of this.
So
Okay.
the manure comes down into our reception pit.
And how many cattle are we talking about at this location?
Just about 3,000.
3,000.
Yep.
And I've heard you guys are looking to milk 10. Is that just a rumor, or eventually?
Yeah, I guess I would call that a rumor.
Rumor, yeah.
Yeah. There's nobody in our management team who's ever said that.
Somebody told me that, but of course, you're not standing still at any point either. If I came back in a decade, who knows what we might.
Yeah. Our goal is that Adirondack Farms is here tomorrow. So, we're constantly looking for ways to improve and change, and one of them is this methane digestion. So, in that reception pit, all the manure comes, and from there, it's fed into this digester, which is this big round tank.
Fed in. Can we get closer here? How do we feed the
So there's pumps down there.
pumps there? So
Yeah, that pump it into this tank.
Does your memory banks include the size of that tank?
It's just about 2 million gallons.
Give or take.
Yeah.
Give
So-
or take a quart.
So down in there, there's
Okay.
pumps, and
So
we can go many different directions from there with the manure. Our goal is that as much as possible goes into this methane digester.
Okay, now you call it a digester. It takes out the gas. What's left?
So it doesn't really take out anything. The manure goes in there,
Uh-huh.
and then there's it's an anaerobic process with bugs, and bugs eat the fiber in the manure, and what they do is they give off methane. So in that process, you get about a 5% reduction in the volume of what you put in.
Uh-huh.
So you get the methane out, and then you also get a slurry manure back that has
You
solids
still
and
got to
liquids.
spread on your fields. You still got to fertilize your fields. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
right. So out of that, we take the manure that's out of the digester after it's been processed by the bugs, and we squeeze it, and we separate the liquid. So the solid portion we reuse as bedding under the animals. It's just like dry shavings or sawdust. The liquid portion goes to our lagoon, and that's the nutrients we put back into the soil. And we have miles of underground pipeline that
Wow.
we can pump that manure and directly inject it to the roots of the plants where it's needed without having to take trucks on the road.
Huh. That's incredible. Huh?
Yeah. So those are some of the things that that farms all over New York State and the country are implementing to improve the way they operate, to bring efficiencies, and to really reuse and recycle everything we have here.
Yes, but you've got to have a certain amount of volume before it even becomes on your radar. You can't just guy milking 300 cows isn't going to be thinking of something along these lines.
Well, there's companies now that will do that for you. So we do some of it ourselves. We also hire other people to help us. So that's a business opportunity for farms that maybe don't do it themselves. There's people out there who can come do it for you.
Oh, okay. So I assume these big pipes up here, that's where you pump it into the...
So this big white pipe is actually the gas coming out. So it comes out, it goes underground, and then we saw up there at the gas skid.
So it's all done underground over to the...
Yep.
Where it's processed over there, and then eventually...
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you, how do you get the manure here? Do you add underground too, or do you...
Underground, so in the center of the barn.
You have barns.
Yep, there's an underground pipeline, and we push all the manure into that underground pipeline, and that carries it down to this reception pit.
So you've got at least 3 barns here, and you got more...
It's a heifer barn back there, but you notice there's no odor, you don't see any flies, right? That's these processes and these new things and new technologies everybody's using are benefit everybody, benefit the cows, benefit the community, benefit the earth. So it's really important that we have help and continue with research to look at ways to handle manure and to harness the nutrients and the products that we can get from it.
Yes, because although it's called waste, you don't want to waste it. You want to put it to use.
It's very valuable. It's very valuable.
Okay, and do you know roughly how many acres you guys are in the ballpark? How, as you continue to grow, you know where you are at the moment?
So here in Peru, our goal is to have enough land so that we can provide forage for all of our animals. We don't buy any forage, and we think that's a benefit to us and a benefit to the land as well, the way we take care of it, and a benefit to the community. I grew up in southern Maine, and as population moves in, farms go away, and keeping land open is important to as cropland goes away, whether it's to houses or other things, that creates food inflation. It makes it more and more expensive to farm and to grow the food needed for all the people in the world.
And when you look back, I think back at my farm and look at old maps and the work that went into clearing that land, all that work, if they were to know that 200 years later they'd just go back to the wilderness, they would have been a little discouraged, that it only lasted that long,
Yeah.
But the amount of work that they did back then was no modern equipment to clear all that property and to make it usable and tillable just astounds me that they could do that.
Yeah. It really does take quite a bit of effort to feed all the people there are.
What's he carrying?
So that's our feed wagon. So
Okay.
he's delivering a load of, right now he's mixing it, and then he's delivering a load of feed to the cows. It's very important how they're fed and what they're fed. And we have recipes that we put together for each group of cows designed to maximize their health and nutrition. So he'll go out to the feed pad, and it'll come right up on his iPad screen, and it'll tell him which ingredients and what weights to make the correct mixture. It's just like kind of baking a cake. You've got to have the right amount of the right ingredients for it to come out right.
And although there are several barns here, you do divide up the cattle apparently then according to what their diet should be.
That's part of it. We really divide them up by age a little bit, and then that kind of dictates what their diet should be, and we work with nutritionists who specialize in and have software specializing in what to feed those cows and how to create a healthy situation for them.
So you're able to keep your replacements coming. You have
Yes.
you keep your calves and
we grow calves and heifers here, and they grow into cows.
I knew that part.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Shane, anything else that I'm not smart enough to be asking you here that we should talk about?
No, I don't think so. It's, agriculture is exciting to be a part of. There's a lot of neat things out there to be looking at, and a lot of variety, and we're excited about renewable natural gas, and we're also excited about the possibility of an electricity program or a LCFS program in New York.
Okay, LCFS. You can't just throw initials at me.
Low carbon fuel standard.
Okay.
Yeah, low carbon fuel standard. So those type of programs can really help farmers bring their business and help create a situation where the farm is sustainable for the long term, and that's what we all want.
Yeah. So besides just selling the milk and selling off the beef after, and a few steers that
Right.
young bulls that you don't want to keep around, you need to have some income, and this is another source of income.
Yes.
But it's a source of income that's beneficial to everybody.
Everybody, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Shane. Anything else you can think of before we hit the off button?
I think that's it.
All right. We appreciate you taking time off here. Used up half an hour of your spare time here. Not that you ever get any. You work a 40-hour week, I suppose. You work a 40-hour week.
We all work hard here, right? Everybody works hard.
Yes. Farm isn't 9 to 5.
Not always. No, that's for sure.
You hope to have a shift, but when things pop up, you got to get them done.
Yeah, we do our best to provide a good balance for everybody. Family time's important.
That's
time
right.
away is important, and there's no shame in hard work either.
That's right. All right, Shane St. Cyr. We've been at the Adirondack Farms here in Peru, New York.